When we solve problems, it matters which order we solve them in.
We have 4 groups of books. Each group has 8 books in it.
So first we need to solve 4 multiplied by 8.
And then we'll add 3 more on. So 4 multiplied by 8 means we have 32 books. So that's a good way to work out a lot of things first, and then we add 3 more. 32 plus 3 equals 35.
So by working out how many books are in our groups first, we don't have to count those ones individually.
Let's have another look at an example where groups really help us. 2 groups of friends are going to the game. Each group of friends has 8 people, so you can see we've got 2 groups of 8. So it would be a good idea to count those first because that takes care of lots of them. 4 parents are also attending, so we can add that on after. 2 groups of 8 is 2 multiplied by 8, and then 4 more. So what we could do, and you'll see we've put a group around there, the children, is we can use brackets around our group, 2 multiplied by 8, because that tells us we're going to work that out first and then add 4 more. 2 multiplied by 8 equals 16, and 4 more makes 20. So we've worked out the groups first and then added on the individual attendees.
This time our problem isn't actually in a number sentence. We need to find the numbers from a written sentence to see what our problem is. Let's have a look at what we've got. 15 less than the maximum of 65 filled the hall. Then they were grouped into teams of 5. So the words are telling us about some mathematical things we need to do. So let's check them out. Less than, that's subtraction. Grouped into teams, well, that's division because we have a total and we're sharing or splitting it into teams. So let's have a look and start at the start and see if we can write the number problem. Well, 15 less than the maximum of 65. That isn't 15 subtract 65. It means we have 15 less than 65. So we start with 65, and if you imagine a number line, we need to subtract because we've got a smaller number, or less than 65. So that means it's 65 minus 15. So the way it's written means you have to think about what's happening to that 65. It's being reduced. Now, they're grouped into teams of 5. So that means we're going to divide by 5 to get our groups of 5. How many groups of 5 are we going to make? Well, we don't know, but we'll divide by 5 and that will tell us. So do you think now we just follow the order of operations? And we've got division, so we do that first? Oh, well, here's where it gets a bit tricky. If you didn't think about all of the words in the sentence, you might do that. And you'd get 65 minus 3, which equals 62. But that's not going to be the answer. And think about what we're doing. We're grouping into teams of 5, so we wouldn't have 62 groups of 5, would we? So let's just check some of the words again. We had this statement here, and there's a special word after, that means after. Then they were grouped. So when it says we did something on the first line, and then they were grouped into teams of 5, that means it happened after. So what we need to do is first work out 15 less than the maximum of 65. So we have to solve 65 minus 15 first. And the best way to make sure we do that without just forgetting about that is putting brackets around it. So when we first see our number problem, 15 less than the maximum of 65, we can put brackets around that because it tells us that after that, then they were grouped into teams of 5. So then we can do our division. So we've got 65 minus 15, and then we divide by 5 to see how many teams of 5 there are. Now you don't have to solve this, but 65 minus 15 is 50. So 50 divided into teams of 5, how many teams will we make? So the brackets were the things that really helped us match what the words were telling us to do.